Okay, everyone, welcome back. And in this video, we're going to start implementing the exporting functionality of the program. It's going to probably be a rather long video. There's a good amount of code that goes behind that. But before we implement the actual function for exporting itself, let's make a function that will allow us to actually browse files in the user interface and call it browse files export. And it's a pretty short function. We're just storing the name of the file. And this is the title of the window. And if we actually select any file, we're going to store that in a user interface element called file selection line export. Okay, now I want to bind that function as well to a to the button of browse. I kind of lost where I am. Okay, right here. Let's create a new event listener for browse button export. Clicked event. Okay. So now what should happen is our browse button should work. Very good. And if we select a folder, it should paste the name of that folder into our bar. Okay, so once this is done, we can build the function for exporting the actual files. So we're going to call that export rules, and we're going to begin like we did with the get rule names. We're going to start by calling the build request so that we have the response and the base URL. And the sec token. Good. And let's build our headers. In this case, we need two headers, one for JSON and one for zip files. Let's call it headers JSON. And headers zip. You can just copy this and change to zip. Okay. Now, let's now what I want to do is to we basically want to store all of the values that the user can select after the rules are populated, right? So I can select I'm gonna populate the program with a list of rules that we have in QRadar, and then I can select one or multiple of those, and those are going to be exported all in a single file. So the way I am going to do this is like this. The rule view is the window that we saw in the last video, where it displays all of our names of the rules. And selected indexes, this will basically give us the values that are selected. And what this line is doing is basically it's a Python code construct called list comprehension. It basically allows you to write loops and conditionals in a single line, and you kind of read it from right to left. So for every index in selected indexes, store the text name of the index in a list called selected items. So now that we have the names, we need to get the IDs, right? Because if we want to send an export request into QRadar, we don't do that by the rule name, we do that by the rule ID. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm also going to write a list comprehension again. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically iterating on each name that is stored in the selected items list, and I'm trying to find whether there is a match in the list of rules that we have in the from the response that we created in the beginning of the function. So if there's a match, I'm basically grabbing the ID value of the rule from the response and storing that in a list of IDs. After that, what I want to do is to construct the request itself that we're going to send to the export rules API. Let's call it data. And we have to convert it into a string. And we're going to construct it like this. We're basically passing a list of IDs that QRadar is going to export. And the content type is custom rules. And the related content is basically telling the export request to bundle the requirements for the rules as well. So if a rule is using a certain custom property or anything like that, it's going to include that in the export as well. So it's like including dependencies. That's a good way to look at it. and it's called F group links. So now it's telling it to export the dependencies as well. And all of this is documented in the QRadar API documentation. You just have to look for the API endpoint, which I'm going to get to in a few moments here. So we've done this, and now I'm going to construct the API request itself. Let's use a try statement. Export response equals to requests.post. And let's call the endpoint. Sorry, it's extension management. Okay, and data is going to be equal to data that we constructed above. Headers, we're going to use the headers, the JSON headers. And again, verify is going to be false. So we're basically sending a request to this API endpoint on QRadar, and we're going to tell it to export our selected IDs and their dependencies as well. Let's store. I'm gonna use a breakpoint here just to be safe. It shouldn't really affect anything in the live program itself. It's more for debugging purposes. So once we send that request, we're going to get an ID, and that ID belongs to a task that is running, and we're going to check the status of that task until it's done. Let's store the ID. We're grabbing it from the JSON response. And now we're going to call a second API that will tell us the status of our export request. And it's going to be under config, extension management, and extensions task status, and task ID from the ID we have above. And basically, as long as the status is not completed, we're going to continuously get the status using the task status URL, JSON headers, verify false. And I'm going to put a breakpoint here as well. Okay, so basically, as long as the status is not complete, it's going to run this loop um, until it is complete. And then what we want to do is to actually download the file that was generated on the QRadar backend. We can do it using the following API endpoint. We're gonna save the response. Using zip headers this time. Breakpoint again, and then we're actually going to save the file, the downloaded file. Using the folder that we selected from the browse button as the download location. And we're going to call the file output.zip. And we're going to write the content of that file to that location. And then I would like to show a message box. So let me create a function for that. And let's give it a title and a message. Set window title. And set window message, set text message and msg box dot set standard buttons. Okay, now we have a message box function, and we can call it after our export is done. Okay. Now we want to test that, so we're going to oh, I have to finish my try block. And accept. Why don't I have? Oh, I think. Yeah, we have a small problem here with the. Let's try to rearrange it. Okay, yeah, so there's a small problem with the indent here. Okay, good. I kind of missed that. Um, okay, what else? The base URL. Okay, good. Sorry about that. Okay. Now I want to bind the function into our button. So let's call the event listener and connect it to self.export rules. And yeah, everything should work now. Let's give it a run. So my sec token is this one, and the URL is this one. And first of all, let's get the list of all of the rules. And I'm going to select my test rule here. And you can select as many as you want. It's going to import all of them in a single file. I'm just going to select this one for now. And I'm going to set my location into, let's see, into here. And I'm going to click on export now. When I click on export, it's going to start running all of the processes in the background. And when it's done, it should give us a message box saying the export was done. And the file is output.zip, as we've seen. So let's give that a try. And it says exported rules have been saved to output.zip. And as we can see, this is our file containing the rule data in a XML format, which is how it should be. Awesome. So everything worked. It's very, very nice to see. And in the next video, we're going to implement the importing function of the rules in the program, and see how everything so far is tied together. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.